Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. This is where accounting professionals just like you learn all the ways to grow their firm, sharpen their skills, and have consistent increasing sales. I cover topics such as detaching from the emotional side of the sale, having paradigm shifts in the most important part of your business, which is the nucleus of your accounting firm, sales, and how to see an objection really as an asset and stop giving away your time for free for those that don't deserve it. So you can actually get paid your value and your worth and grow your top line revenue. You'll learn tips, sales strategies, as well as hear from personal interviews from successful accounting professionals. This podcast will show you exactly the blueprint on how to create the firm and life of your dreams full of abundance. Today on the Abundant Accountant Podcast, we have a very special guest. Our special guest is the owner of Apex Methods, which he started in 2019. He focuses on helping bookkeepers and accounting firm owners get more leads and clients through online marketing. This is, yes, lead generation. His specific focus is helping them establish a social media presence and generate leads on a consistent basis. He also spent and helped over 500 bookkeeping and accounting firms with their marketing and continues to work with more and more and have positive impact in the accounting industry. But before we welcome our special guest to the show, if you're an accounting, tax, or bookkeeping firm owner and you want to stop trading time for dollars, let go of overly demanding clients and get paid based on your value and your worth and still massively boost your revenue, here's what I've got for you. Here at the Abundant Accountant, we show you a system to fill your firm with ideal clients who value your time so you can take your firm to the next level and work the hours you want to work while still having plenty of time every single week for yourself and your family. And not only that, I'm going to show you how to do all this in a way that feels simple, effortless, and automatic. So if you want me to show you exactly how to do this, go to theabundantcall.com and book a call with me and my team right now. And now let's welcome our special guest, Cameron, to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today, Cameron. I'm so excited to have this discussion with you, and I think we need to have many more because I always get the objection all the time, Michelle, I don't need sales, I need leads. And that's what we're going to talk about today because Cameron and I did a webinar, and there were questions about, marketing and sales. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What is the difference between leads and what is the difference between sales? And a few other questions that we got from our webinar the other day. And that's what we're going to dive into today. So Cameron, before we dive in, I know I just did your intro, but why don't you share with everyone, how you got started in this industry, why you chose the accounting and bookkeeping firm owners like I did, and the impact you want to make on this industry, all in under 1 minute.
Awesome. I got this. Okay. So yeah, thank you for the intro. And a little bit of my backstory is I've always actually been in marketing. My background is not in accounting or bookkeeping. And when I started my business in 2019, I knew I wanted to niche. So I started thinking, well, who needs help with marketing? And found that bookkeepers and accountants typically struggle with marketing and that there was quite the big need. So decided to make that my focus. And I've worked with a little over 500 firms now. And, if I were to wrap it up in the impact that I'm trying to make on the industry is to show bookkeeping and accounting business owners that you do not have to do complex marketing. It's actually a very simple process, and there's a time and place for complex marketing, but in the beginning, it is nothing more than simplicity and consistency. And so I'm just trying to teach as many people as I can.
Awesome. So is there a firm size that's too small to implement your simple marketing system?
Actually, it's kind of every firm can use this, but it's kind of the other way around that. I have two programs. And my most popular program is actually meant for people either starting out or brand new to Facebook marketing, right? And so, because what I do and what I did is I based it all off of how I started my business when I
Yep.
had zero clients, zero money coming in.
Yep.
And so usually people in the startup zone, it's great for them, but also because I've worked with very large firms that they have other forms of getting clients, usually like word of mouth,
Hmm.
and but they're new to Facebook, right? And so the size of the industry doesn't really matter. But when it comes to my beginner program, it's just how experienced are you with, or not size of the industry, but size of the business. But when it comes to the Facebook program, it's how experienced are you with Facebook marketing, right? So if you've been doing it for a while, that I have my advanced program, but most people haven't. And so to answer the question, no, there is no size too small.
Cool. Awesome. So I know in our webinar that we did, we got a lot of questions about targeting more precisely in the lead generation, especially for a firm owner who's kind of new or just starting out. And how do you attract those higher quality leads using the organic Facebook marketing that you teach? What do you say on that, on how to target more precisely and attract a higher quality lead?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talk about higher quality leads and targeting, you actually want to go the step before lead generation. And this is like probably 90% of the people I talk to, this is what we talk about.
Yep.
Gosh, how do I generate more leads? And it's like, okay, well, yes, you can generate more leads, and we do want to do that. There's a way we do it, but the quality comes before that because it comes in the strategy,
Yep.
right? And so the first thing in the program that we do is we set a simple marketing strategy. And within that, the first item is we need to identify who is the target market, right? And
Hmm.
because that is going to dictate everything we do with marketing. And if we don't get strategic on that, it's going to be hard to really know who we're targeting and up that quality of leads. So for example, if I am wanting to have high ticket prices, right, or high ticket fees, and I want to charge a premium for my service, well, I need to market to people that can afford that. So an easy example could be like law firms or dentists, right? There's a ton of them
Hmm.
that can, but like that's an easy example where it is that like one, they have a deep level need for it, but two, they can actually afford it. And it's not only can they, but it's common as opposed to maybe like photographers. People love photography, but it's not extremely common for photographers to make a ton of money to spend one, two, 3,000 a month on accounting, right?
Right.
So in the beginning, you just want to be strategic on what you're doing. You want to structure this out on, well, who are you even marketing to? And
Hmm.
are they in a lucrative industry? Once you have that, then we want to, before you start doing lead generation, you want to get positioned to them. You want to showcase that, hey, I specialize in helping you. I'm the heart doctor to your heart problem. I think on our webinar, you used like a brain surgeon
Yep. I did.
example. Yep. And I always use a heart surgeon example where it's like, if I'm having a heart attack, I will pay a heart surgeon whatever they want. It's like just fix my heart.
Yeah, you're going to the specialist. Like you wouldn't go to a general practitioner with just hey, I've got this tumor in my brain that the MRI showed. Can you help me out? The general practitioner would be like, well, I need to refer you out to the, neurosurgeon or the brain surgeon to remove this tumor. That can also read the MRI and look at the specialty because they've done thousands of these surgeries and they become an expert in that area. And I love that because even on the sales side, people talk about, well, I want to convert and, I want to offer higher pricing. And, one of the questions I got when we did our webinar was, well, how soon can I raise my prices to clients who just signed on? If you've lowballed their fees or you discounted and thought, well, in the future, they'll pay me more. It goes back to what Cameron's saying. You have to understand, in my world, we call it your ideal client. Because in order to communicate your value, you have to understand so many elements of that. And you have to have a sales process in order to take them through for them to see your value, see your worth, and then be able to charge the premium monthly fee that you want, be it 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 a month. So it's important on the marketing side on lead generation, and it's important on the sales side on the conversion. Now, before we get too far deep down this rabbit hole, Cameron, I would love it if you could share with me what you think the difference and what the firm owners listening, I should say, should know about the difference between what you do, which is lead generation marketing, versus what I do, which is sales and conversions and closing and getting paid and getting your agreement signed and making sure you're priced really high out the gate so you don't have to deal with discounts and lowballing your fees and doing work for free.
Yes, absolutely. Such a good topic. And it comes up pretty often that I think a lot of people, when they think of marketing and sales, they think it's
The
one
same.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like it is absolutely not. They're cousins, they're under the same umbrella, but it's different. And so the way I look at marketing and lead generation is, well, that is producing the interest, producing the leads, producing the calls, right? But
Mhm.
once you like, for example, when I book a call with my ideal client, well, my lead gen is done right there. My
Right.
marketing's done. Now I'm moving into a different area, which is my sales call, right? And then that's where it passes on to what you do, where like, okay, we're going to have a sales process, a closing process. We're going to be able to charge these high level fees, right? And so I've talked to a lot of people that some they're already great at lead gen, but they're really bad at closing calls, right? Or say some of my clients that I teach them and they're like, okay, I got this down. I'm booking 3 calls per week, but I'm closing nobody, right? And that's where that separation comes, where now they need help with sales or vice versa. People are like, okay, I'm really good at sales. I close them all the time. I just need to book more calls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or if they're closing all the time, but it could be like the person who we had on our webinar where they're like, "Well, I closed them, but the rate wasn't the right one. I went low just to get the client. Now I need to raise the price to the client that just signed on with me." That is not the way to do it. That has got to be the worst tactic I have ever seen, unless it was a completely just a mistake, but if you're doing it on purpose, just to have a high conversion rate and get as many clients as you can get, it's a recipe for disaster in your firm.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And something that was you had mentioned it on our webinar, and it was funny. So we had our webinar, and then yesterday I had our weekly group call, and I could see the people who were on the webinar and actually had a call with you, just one call with you or with your team. They were like so much more confident, and talking about these things high level. They were just coming out of the gate in a just totally different way than what they usually do on the call.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it was, talking about charging higher fees, but also being willing to say no to
Yes.
people and the power behind that. And I think a lot of that came from their conversation with you.
Yeah. We definitely uncover that when we have a call with any prospect, but having that confidence to say no just allows you to figure out, okay, this is not my ideal client, so I'm not going to take them on for a low price just to get the client signed on. And when you can have the power of saying no, that's where you can start to attract more high quality leads on Facebook, more high quality clients in the targeting and in the messaging that you have once you learn, okay, here's what I'm going to accept and here's what I'm not. And I think that's a crucial thing because typically, a lot of times, normally you have an initial call and then you just get like a yes from clients. Yes, I want to work with you. And then we heard this on the webinar. I want to address this question. You send them an agreement and then you send them this ACH form to be filled out. And then you're wondering, well, how come I don't have a signed agreement? And you're literally in Wonderland. You're like, did I get ghosted? What happened? And that's a challenge in your sales process. That's a challenge with your closing confidence. And when we don't do it the proper way, I call it being in proposal land. You send out a proposal and you send out a payment link or form to fill out, and then you are in proposal land, not knowing what happened. And the most important thing to do is to make sure that you get paid in your first meetings and you also get an agreement signed and you have your engagement letter signed right then and there. And it will remove about 90% of your time wasting activities of chasing clients, wondering what happened to them, following up with them. Even though following up is an important element in your sales process, it's crucial to do because otherwise you just sit and wonder. and you wonder how come so many people disappeared on you or ghosted you. And that's a horrible feeling. And that's not going to attract high quality leads and be able to really target your lead generation more precisely in any way, because you're not getting to a decision from a client. They just disappeared because you didn't have a good sales process.
Yeah. Well, I think with that too is, I've seen so many people, they're booking these calls and
Mm-hmm.
they're having success, and even the call goes well. They're like, oh, they're all saying, yeah, it sounds great, but they're not closing them. Still a
Yep.
lot of that happens in construction. And then so then they actually are like following up, and they kind of have a process, but I think people got to understand, like, having a process is step one, but having a really good process is different. That you can spend hours, so much time, hope, and mental energy on having like a week sales process, week closing process, and be following up with people for weeks, right? And even if they do close, but it took like 3 or 4 weeks. And so if you can have a solid process that is effective, you're getting paid up front, you are closing these people, it is going to save so much time that you can then reinvest that time. Something I loved you said, you was like, our time is our inventory. So you
Yes.
can take the inventory and you can put it into marketing, client delivery,
Yeah.
living life, time with family, like so many different things, right? And it's not
Yeah.
just, I think people got to understand, it's not just having a closing process, it's having a really, like, a damn good closing process and sales
Yeah.
process.
A step by step system that you can just replicate and duplicate. And I think any accountant, bookkeeper, or tax firm owner, we like process, we like procedures. Just like you have a process for your onboarding clients, you should have a process for your marketing and lead generation. That's what Cameron does. You need to have a process for your sales, how to get paid up front, how to do this over the phone, how to figure out your pricing, your packages before you even have a meeting with client. That's all your sales process, because otherwise you're just going to have clients saying, okay, give me a quote. It's like, well, you're not building, I'm just going to use this example. I have a very expensive fixer upper house. I say, give me a quote to the guy who's going to do the stucco outside my house. You are not a commodity. You are a highly educated person that owns a service-based firm that is a bookkeeper, an accountant, a tax planner, tax professional, tax resolution, CFO advisory, whatever it is. We don't do quotes. That's not how we enroll clients. So if you think you have to give a quote or you think you have to give a proposal, that's part of not having a step-by-step systematic approach to your sales process. And it's going to cost you a lot in time, inefficiencies, and a lot of bumps in the road and a lot of mistakes that ultimately you could have been doing, like what Cameron said, hanging out with your family, putting more of the effort in on marketing, focusing on getting the high quality leads on Facebook, or using any of Cameron's other lead generation techniques so you can get your ideal client. But then they expect a different client experience. And when you have a systematic sales process, that's what creates the client experience. So,
So I'm interested in your take on this, Michelle.
uh-huh.
So you said have a process and a system,
Yep.
and I preach the same exact thing. And one of the things I've noticed over the years is that bookkeepers and accountants are really good at or that's how their mind works, right? It's like
Yep.
step by step, task oriented, but they have a misconception, and I think it's just a general misconception on marketing and sales, that marketing and sales is like this creative, fluid, go with the flow, try this, try that, and you're good with your words, and they're like, I'm just not creative. Where
No.
in reality, it's like, that's not what you do in this. Like, it's actually
We want to be really not creative in this. We want to be very strategic and systematic and follow certain steps to get the outcome that you're looking for, which is having no accounts receivable, getting paid up front, getting paid a minimum of $1,000 to $3,000 a month from clients, having clients say yes to you in that first meeting, not having to chase people. That is what's possible when you have a step-by-step process. Being creative, in my mind, will really not benefit you and the outcome that you're looking for, which is to help more of your ideal client.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, it's funny coming from like me, a marketer, like being creative is exhausting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like I prefer to focus on just the simple, boring stuff where
Mm,
it's like, okay, I'm gonna look at this from like a logical, structural standpoint.
correct.
How can I
Yes.
turn that into a system that is like more like an equation, like okay, 2 + 2 = 4? And like that's how I want to look at it. And I want to be the least creative as I can be. And that works so much better because there's a time and place for kind of doing some creative stuff and high level marketing, like for sure there's a time and place, but
Hmm.
by no means is it a requirement for success.
And same goes on the sales side. Every single time I listen to a client's recorded call or we're having a discussion on one of the elements of the enrollment process, whenever they went off track and didn't follow their steps in front of them, it was a disaster. They didn't get the client, it didn't go to plan, they wasted an extra hour on the phone with them. It just didn't pan out. So, the second that they go right back to the steps and follow the preparation that they did before the meeting, which also I want to address one of the questions before any meeting, we must figure out, well, what is it that you want to price this client at? What is the best package for this client? And we had a question as well, and maybe you can speak to this, Cameron, but I'll be very blunt with it. Should we be offering different packages to our clients and then letting them choose which one? If you end up doing that, they're always going to check or want the lowest price. So now you're already putting yourself in a price competition with yourself when you offer 3 packages. So I don't like that. Also, if we go back to our heart surgeon and you need you just had a heart attack, you need to have stent put in, or you just had a brain tumor and you just needed it removed. The brain surgeon's not going to go, well, hey, Cameron, I have 3 options. We can either remove part of it and then we can see if the other part just goes away on your own. And then you might need chemo, you might not. Or we could just eliminate the whole thing and you won't ever have to do chemo. Or, if you want to see how you can get rid of this organically, that's our other option. Like, I want the one that's going to make me live the longest and not have to be back here all the time. And I'm going to give you a personal example because I just dealt with this with my dog. We went to an eye specialist. The eye specialist gave me 2 options. I went with the option to try to heal her eye herself, which at the end of the day, a week ago, she had to have the very expensive surgery because it wasn't healing itself. He said, well, you have a 75% chance that it'll heal on its own this way, or you have a 95% chance if we do the surgery right now. He should have said, this is so bad, you should have just done you need to do the surgery so her eye does not rupture and that she can see because she's a young puppy and she'll have a great life ahead of her. Never offer too many options. We always are going to go with the lowest price or the least evasive. That's where I was thinking. I'm like, oh, I don't want to put my dog under if I don't have to. Just fix the problem. And that's the other thing. When you're looking at a client's books, let's say, they give you access to all their bookkeeping and you're noticing all these mistakes and all these other things. That's how you can figure out your pricing. That's how you can figure out, well, what questions am I going to ask in the meeting? That's how you can figure out, well, you need my VIP package or platinum package. I don't care what you name them. It's just you're only going to offer the solution that solves their problem. End of story. The eye doctor should have provided me the solution to save her eye without wasting 2 months of time to try to figure it out with drops and other stuff. Didn't work. Thank you so much, but it didn't work. And we still had to go back and do the surgery. And now we have a whole nother month of recovery on our hands. So we've lost 3 months of puppy time. And it's not fun having a puppy who can't play with friends. So what is the solution that client needs in order to solve the problem? And that is the package that you deliver. So, Cameron, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I agree, and I always like to offer a unique perspective because I don't have a background in bookkeeping and accounting. I used to wish I did, but now I'm as far in as I am. I'm glad I don't because I can offer the other side of it. Like when I was given quotes, when I was given that, and truth be told, I didn't want options because I don't know. I'm not an accountant. I wanted to be told,
Right. I want to be
I wanted to
told.
be
Yeah.
led by somebody that said, okay, here's your situation. This is what you need to do. Like that's as much time as I want to spend on it. I think a lot of people get kind of scared of asking for high prices. So they're like, well, this is what, premium, but there's also this, because they just want to get that client. I think it all comes back to, well, when you're okay with saying no, when you're okay with losing a lead that wasn't right for you, it's going to be better because like you said, like you just need to tell them what they need, not maybe not what they want, because maybe they want something really low. It's like
Right.
that's what you need, and I'm not going to go there. And but if you give options to people, they're not bookkeepers and accountants. They don't know what's
Hmm.
best for them. If you do that, they could either be price shopping,
Yeah.
or they could just be like, well, I guess we'll start here and see where it goes. Or I don't know, when they probably would have been willing to do the higher ticket one. So yeah, I'm with you on that, on offer what they need
Yes.
and also offer what you want to provide.
Yeah, and what will solve their problem? Like my dog needed her eye fixed, or someone going in with a brain tumor needs their tumor removed. End of story. There should not ever be any options. And what we do here, I definitely believe we do not need options. It's just confusing, and you're also pricing, it's becoming a price conversation when it should not ever be about price.
Right. Because that
Um,
kind of sets the foundation for the relationship, right?
yeah.
Where from the beginning, where this was price and ongoing, that's what it is. Where if it's based off of value and it's like, hey, I'm the professional, I'm going to solve these problems for you and got your back in this area of the business. Totally different relationship moving forward.
Yeah, totally. Well, Cameron, this has all been fantastic. Is there anything else that you want to share that maybe we haven't covered yet today from any of the questions that you recall from the webinar, or just anything in general of the difference between what you do with helping accounting and bookkeeping firms generate leads, which is the first part of the process, or even on the sales side, from your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say if there was one lasting item I'd say to think about would be that successful marketing does not have to be complex. It does not have to be advanced. And when you see people having success online, it can be really intimidating if you're new to it.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be advanced. It just needs to be strategic. And when you look at it from a strategic standpoint rather than a creative standpoint, now we start breaking it down into a logical structure. And we start looking at, well, first things first, who am I going to market to? And is it a lucrative industry where they're willing to pay these high ticket prices? And then you break that down into how am I going to be positioned to them? And then you start doing a lead generation process, right? And
Mhm.
so when you look at it from a simplistic form, it's actually quite amazing how simple it is once you understand it. When you look at it from a simplistic form, now it's more realistic. Now it's not daunting and this huge thing where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so confused, right?
Yeah, just
And
keep it
when
simple.
Exactly. Keep it simple. And then the second thing I'd say is just understand there is 100% a difference between lead generation and a sales process. And that you can be great at lead gen. A lot of my clients are fantastic at lead gen. There's no problem booking calls. Like I won't say any names. The guy, somebody I
Yeah.
just referred to you, he's 3 weeks in, he's booking calls, but the calls he didn't close were due to price, right? And so there's a difference in that, and you got to understand on your like what you help people with, that the fees, the structure, the sales process, that there is a whole structural process in that as well, and you just got to learn these processes and how they work together.
Yeah. And I like to say you have to learn the art of enrollment, because if people are just saying no to you because of the price, then you're having price conversations and you're not having sales conversations. And that's
Yeah,
a whole nother topic. But
yeah, I like
Cameron,
that.
yeah. So thank you so much for being here. If someone wants to talk to you about getting organic lead generation going, learning your simple, systematic approach to generating calls so they can get new clients of their ideal client, how can one get in touch with you?
Yeah, so there I got my website. It's apex-methods.com. So you can always check that out and learn a little bit more about me and my company, and you can book a call from there. Or just social media. I do social media marketing, so I'm on social media all day. I'm on primarily Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, but by far Facebook is what I'm on the most. So just reach out to me there, and always happy to have a chat and either A, just see where I can help you if you have general questions, or B, if you're serious about it, then jump on a call and see if it's the right fit.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. And if you are an accounting, tax, or bookkeeping firm owner, keyword firm owner, you own your own firm, and you want to stop trading time for dollars and let go of overly demanding clients and finally get paid based on your value and worth and get paid up front, like we just talked about today, before anyone ever ghosts you ever again, here's what I've got for you. At The Abundant Accountant, I show you a simple step-by-step system to fill your firm with ideal high-paying clients who value your time so you can take your firm to the next level and only work the hours you want to work and still have plenty of free time each week for yourself and your family. And not only that, I'm also going to show you how to do all of this in a way that feels simple, effortless, and automatic, just like Cameron was just talking about, with the way you can generate leads and target your ideal clients. If you want me to show you exactly how to do this, then you can contact us and go to theabundantcall.com and book your call with me and my team today. Once again, if you want me to show you exactly how to do this and go through it every single step of the way, go to theabundantcall.com right now and book your call with me and my team. Thank you all so much for being here on another amazing episode here at the Abundant Accountant Podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode.